going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. I am not alone. I'm joined by the lovely Layla Fox back on the channel. Layla, what's up? How you doing?
Hey guys, what's happening? Ash, thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming on. We just did a Harrier lore video. I can't believe the day hath come that I did a Harrier lore video on your channel. So my viewers should all go check that out after this video on Layla Fox's YouTube channel. It'll be linked in the show notes below. I gotta say, I don't want to give any spoilers, but one of your viewers wrote the entire story, and she was a 13-year-old, incredible lore story.
Yeah, it was very, very impressive, I have to say. And yeah, if you guys are gonna watch that, there's definitely a bunch of dialogue that Ash and I have, because I was really surprised by how well done it was by a 13-year-old. It was really good.
It was really fun. So guys, go check that out in the show notes. This is part 2, by the way, in case you missed part 1. I will link it in the show notes for you guys. If you don't care about your factions being in order, start here. Watch that video after the Harrier video. But there was a little bit of feedback, wasn't there, Layla, on our first video? They gave us some, I guess, some warranted grief for skipping over the uncommons. So let's give a little love here really quickly to, really, there's only 1 or 2, right? By the way, this video is about every champion that we would max, no questions asked. And we skipped over this fella. You say his name differently than I do, so you say his name, then my viewers can tell us who's wrong.
Armiger.
I say Armiger.
Armiger.
Run fast for your mother, run fast for your father.
Hello guys, who's right, who's wrong? Are we both wrong?
Is
I
the
don't
hard
know.
G or the soft G, guys? Let us know. These are the, these are the pressing.
Who wins this one? Mirash, who wins?
Who wins, guys? Who wins? Armiger
Armiger.
or Armiger?
Armiger.
We would both max out Armiger, right?
Armiger.
Yep.
Okay. And we also didn't mention the starting champions. Well, obviously you're going to max out a starter, so sorry for not mentioning it. Is there any other uncommon in the first 4 factions that we missed from the last video?
Shield Guard. I always like him. I definitely max him out every time.
Every time. How many counts do you start? Layla has like
Well,
150 accounts every time.
I only have my main and my alt, and he's max on both.
Okay, cool. I have max too. I love Shield Guard. He's a cool champion. He has
I really like him.
Yeah, he has that turn meter fill. He's an absolute beast of a machine on a 2-turn cooldown. I forgot about that too. He's great. He's great. In Lifesteal, he can like solo Ice Golem, solo Nightmare campaign. Pretty incredible stuff. So you guys, you sick demented souls, my viewers, I love you guys. You liked us talking a lot, because I remember at the end it was 40 minutes and I was like, wow, we went really long on only 4 factions, but the comments were all very positive. They liked when we talked a lot about these champions. So we're just going to keep it up here and give the people what they want, Layla.
Give them what they want, Ash.
I can't believe we only did 4 factions last time.
I don't know how to start.
Let's go ahead and pick things up right where we left off in Uragrim tribe. Let's just go ahead and alternate again. Like start wherever you want us to, I guess, yeah. How did we do it last time? I forgot.
I just pretended like I knew because I wanted Jeff to think I was smart.
Start. How about Bellower? I mean, I think
Bellower.
Bellower's a no-brainer.
I mean,
he's
that's
right
perfect. So why do
there.
you
There we
love
go.
Bellower?
Jeez, Bellower's a no-brainer. I mean, he's got AoE in all 3 of his abilities.
Boom,
I mean, that's
boom,
common sense
boom.
right there. I
Yeah.
mean, how do you not?
I totally agree. You ever see those like speed teams on Bellower, like the 3-second Doom Tower teams with Bellowers? I'm like, what kind of sick gear do they have on their Bellowers I need to put on mine for him to be,
I don't have.
up? That's insane. But either way, I agree. He's a great control champion, great debuffer, great anything, campaign farmer, you name it. So yeah, I would definitely take Gear Grinder to 5 stars. I'm not sure if you're a big Gear Grinder fan.
I do think he's great, but I agree. Like, I'm not sure if he would really be 6-star worthy. I guess it probably depends on the rest of what you have in your faction wars and if you really need it. But yeah, I mean, he's one of the few that's actually a reviver, like a true reviver right there. He's not conditional. Like, we love Ugo. I know we're going to get to her soon, but she's kind of conditional. This guy's a true reviver, where he does revive and then does the 50% turn meter. So depending on the situation, yeah, I mean, maybe you would fully 60 him, but I found that I actually did not. Like, you could probably even get away with a 50, like you're saying.
I actually did. He's looking at you kind of creepy right now. Just going to say that.
All right.
Done.
I actually did 6-star Gear Grinder because I needed him for a Doom Tower, Secret Room, hard, whatever.
Oh, there you go, yeah.
And I put him in a shield set. He has a decent amount of HP, and now he's kind of a healer, shield set, reviver, everything I need. So I like Gear Grinder a lot. All right, so that covers the rares. There's no one else here, right? On the rare?
No, nobody else that I could really think of for the Ogrims.
Nah.
Not really, no.
But there's a lot of epics, so why don't you give us your fave?
I'm not going to steal your girl because I'm going to be a pal. So we're going to go for, actually, you know what? I do always want to add in Maneater in there because I think even if you don't do an unkillable comp for Clan Boss, he could still be so useful on that unkillable and Faction Wars and other areas of the game as well too.
Yep. Totally agree. I love that he has an AoE attack on his A1. All it has to be is or decrease attack. All he has to do is land a critical. So, not to mention a full turn meter steal. So, totally agree with you on Maneater. I guess I'll go with. Geez, there's a lot of them here. Uragrim. I mean, even after the nerf, I'm still a big fan of this dude. Great heals. Great more heals, great poison on this A1 and A3. So speed aura in all battles by 20% again. So a good aura lead. I think that, I was bummed out they nerfed him though. Were you the same way or did you build Uragrim?
I mean, I still use him. Honestly, it doesn't really matter. Like he's been fine for me. I still run him. He's been doing his job.
Yeah,
totally agree. I know a lot of people were worried that he was garbage afterwards, and I don't agree. I think he's still great.
Definitely not garbage, but like, man, he was OP. 3-time hitter and then a 3-turn cooldown. That was pretty nasty. But either way, okay. So Uragrim. Who else would you go with here?
I'm gonna probably have to go with Grush. I think Grush is a really strong support for sure.
Same.
I think he's fantastic. Just like Leech, with the heals, the continuous heal, just such a fantastic Ogre to add into your group. Whether you're running Faction Wars or whether you need some support while you're running some dungeons. Like he's just great.
Totally agree. He's one of those daily login reward champions, Layla, that I was so I don't know, impressed with. Like I wasn't sure what I was gonna get out of this champion, but he's kind of a jack of all trades. He can deal out a ton of heals. He has a leech on the A1 as well. And he also has a little bit of debuff and he deals some damage, like 2 AoE attacks with damage based on defense. So kind of does it all. I'm a big fan of him as well. The next one for me, I will say.
So pick me. Choose me.
Love me. Well, I'll just go with my girl, Ugo.
I mean, what were you expecting?
I was saying, might as well just take her.
Yeah, might as well just take her. She's one of my favorite champions in the game. I think she's my favorite epic in the game. Just so versatile. She has the block buffs, the decreased defense on a 3-turn cooldown, and a little mini cleanse, remove one random a debuff, and a heal, and a leech, and that cool kind of passive revival, break in case of emergency abilities. So I love Ugo. She's fantastic.
Yep, she's kind of a no-brainer. You get her, you make her 60. Like she's just so good. Especially now, like in Hydra too. You have her in Hydra, you got her in Faction Wars. Like there's so many things you can use her.
Everything they release in the game, it's like, oh, I can use Ugo there. I can use Ugo there. So totally agree with you. She's on my best Hydra team. Love Ugo. Who else you got here? There's a lot.
Oh man, Skull Crusher.
Yeah, you have to, right?
Skull Crusher, definitely.
If you had Martyr, but no Valkyrie, and you pull Skull Crusher, would you still max him? If you still have the counterattack? I still might
for Faction Wars, but I gotta say, like, he's the only one I have. I don't have Martyr and I don't have Valk.
Okay.
So, like, easy for me, it was a no-brainer for me to even make him a 60 because of that. He was the only option I really had to. But I think even if I had the other ones, I probably still would. Because, like I said, like, Faction Wars, or I think I even had him, like, in some Clan Boss comps I was doing. Like, there's all kinds of different things you can do.
I agree. He's a good support. Like he's more than just the counterattack, He's like a simple kit, but what you see is what you get. A good ally protect, good counterattack. He's got an unkillable on himself. Decreases debuffs, and he's a solid champion. I would do the same. I would definitely max him out even if I had the other 2 champions, because again, you're getting a force affinity. Nice to have that as well. All right, I will go with. There's actually, I think I have 2, maybe 3 left here in the epics, but I'll go with Siege Hulk. I'm not sure if you would have went with him. Takes up the entire screen. He's kind of tough to see, but
How is that not offensive?
This big fella is he's nasty damage dealer. Like I end up using him when I just need damage out of a debuffer. He's got the AoE decreased defense, but what's cool about him is he has really good multipliers. I think 5.7, I believe, on his A3, 3.7 on the A2, and he has everything, all the increased attack, all the increased crit damage, crit rates on himself as well, right? So he's debuffer, he's a ton of damage, increased attack, increased crit rate, increased crit damage, and then he has a turn meter reducer on the A1 too. So he's bringing a little bit more. He is squishy, but I really like this guy.
Using him because I gotta tell you, I have not built him or used him. So like, where are you primarily using him?
I'm using him on Doom Tower Hard Secret Rooms that I need a debuffer, but with some damage. And I'm using him in Faction Wars right now.
Nice. Okay.
It's not everywhere, but for an epic, that's like, pretty decent, Okay. Anybody else here that you would go with?
Probably give Occult Brawler a shout out there. I gotta say, like, he was early on for me. I mean, he definitely was in my Clan Boss teams in the beginning. For sure. Before I even was able to do some unkillables.
Same. I feel like he's been, I don't know. If you pulled him on a free-to-play account now, would you take him to 60? Yeah. I mean, obviously you would. You chose him, right?
Yeah, probably. I probably still would.
I think most of my viewers would agree with you, but I'm a little bit... He's still one of the best raw poisoners in the game, no doubt about it.
Right.
But I don't know. I feel like he's been power crept because they just keep adding so many amazing poisoners to the game still. But he's still good at what he does. I can't argue with you there. I'm gonna go with Claude, Beast Feeder, very good champion, super fast. Here, let me move Layla just so you can see the base stats here. 110 speed, not bad. 21k HP as well. Love his base stats. He has 3-turn cooldown, increased speed, increased accuracy, right? Increased accuracy, great to have. Increased speed, always great to have. And then he has a decent shield as well based on his max HP, which is, solid. So I think that overall, like a really, really solid champion, and he has the heal the ally with lowest HP by 10% at the start of his turn. So heals kind of to who needs it the most. So I think he's an easy champion to max, especially if you're looking for a increased speed, increased accuracy champion.
Those wording, and he always comes with a snack too. We got delicious giblets, and he's got a snack in his backpack. I mean, you can't go wrong, right? Look, the little dude in there.
He does.
He goes back in a snack.
What is that guy in there anyway?
It looks like Golem or something. I don't know. It's a snack. That's what it is.
That is a little snack in there.
Help me.
And his passive's called Delicious Giblets.
I'm afraid of what I'm gonna find in there. Shout out to Shatterbones. Shout out to, there's a few that you can make the case for, but Prundar, I feel like is pretty good, but none who really jump out at me. What about this new dude here? I think old Gracchus is good too. He's new. He's weird looking, like all these Ogrins are. He has an attack one enemy with decreased speed, decreased turn meter on a 3-turn cooldown. Okay. An AoE with decreased attack and heal reduction on a 3-turn. And then leech on a 3-time hitter on the A1. And then speed in dungeons by 24%. Well, he definitely makes up some on that aura. Maybe like a Fire Knight champion, but I don't know if he's like a no questions asked for me,
Yeah, I'm not sure. And honestly, I don't even have him to even try to test him out. Yeah. So I'm not really sure about that.
Okay, well, here we go. On to the legendaries. It looks like it is going to be a 4-faction video. Layla.
Probably, yeah.
Who's your favorite Ogryn legendary?
I'm going to have to go with Iggy. Mr. Ignatius. Iggy.
I'm like, Iggy, who's
sure.
Got you. I can't blame you. Use this guy a lot?
I do. I mean, I have Tyrant, but sometimes I alternate them out too, depending. And he's definitely in my faction wars as well, too.
Yeah, I love the HP burn that can't be resisted, That's really cool to have on 100% land rate. And then provoke as well. So yeah, definitely can't argue with you there. I'll go with Bigen. I guess I kind of look at Bigen as his attack-based counterpart for some reason. An AoE, similar to Bellower on every single attack, provided the critical on the first hit. And then he has turn meter, he has stun, decreased accuracy on the A2. Just an absolute beast when it comes to damage dealt. And he's bringing more to the table as well than just damage, which is really cool. So Bigen is one of my faves. My first legendary ever, Layla.
Was he really?
He was. You never forget your first.
That's true, you don't. On my main account, I'm trying to think. So the first one I got, my first was Robar on the main account.
Ooh, poor you. Back when he was 87 speed.
I know. So it was Robar, Bloodgorge, and then Prince Kymar. So of course, I didn't use any books on Robar or Bloodgorge. And as soon as I got Kymar, I was like, oh yeah, that's where my books went. Yeah.
Good on you for not just blowing them on Robar,
No, I'm so particular when it comes to my resources, I guess. I was I just can't. I'm looking at these guys and I just can't give them books. And then when Kymar rolled around.
Yeah. Well, good for you. Good on you.
He gets them.
All right. Who you got next?
Ooh, next up. Draco I find to be really, really interesting for support. This guy. I think he's really, really an interesting addition into this faction here for being a legendary as well too. And I know he's a fragment. Unfortunately, I think I got 3 of them. Which I have 3.
There you go. He is a polarizing champion. Some people love him, some people don't like him, and I'm in the camp with you. I actually like this dude. I mean, he's bringing a lot to the table, right? Especially, maybe not end game, but he's got the block damage, he's got the increased defense, he's got the increased attack, he's got the shield that heals and all this other stuff. He's got the stun on the A1, he's got a ton of speed and HP and defense. Okay, I'll go on and on, but do you use him a lot or?
I don't use him as much as I used to. I used to use him so much more.
I got you. Okay, I'll give, you know what? This is kind of weird to say, but I think I would max everybody. No questions asked.
I wonder, yeah.
So let's go down the line here. I'll go with Girgo the Auger. Girgo, very, very cool champion because you can come in with the A2, put freeze on, remove 2 buffs from all enemies, Put a guaranteed freeze on all enemies. He's obviously void, so there's no bad matchup there, affinity-wise. And then you grant an extra turn, so you can come in and basically kill somebody with a hard-hitting avalanche. So I think just that combo right there is enough to, let alone his cool passive on the freeze, on the attacker. Kind of like the freeze version of Drexstar Blood Twins passive. Not quite, but similar. So I think he's a really, really good champion.
There we go.
Who you got?
And let's see, who else do we got? Well, we got Shamrock. Shamrock's such an interesting one. And we're in March as well, too. He's very, very fitting.
Did you max Shamrock? Did you max him?
I actually have not. I haven't, but what I was going to say was he a fragment champ? Like, how was he when he first came out?
Yeah, I think he was. I think he was a
fusion?
Fusion or fragment. I think it was, I forgot. Either way, they did give him a couple buffs, though.
Yeah, that I know.
Now I'm looking it up frantically. Say something while I Google Shamrock.
This is the worst.
Well, I mean, you got to like the fact that ability right there is called Lucky Charms. I mean, you gotta say they had a lot of fun when they made up some of these champs here. But I'm curious though, guys, like for those of you guys watching, was he a fusion? Like, do you guys remember, like how far back was that? Like, fusion. I feel like maybe he was one of the earlier ones.
Yeah, 2019.
Maybe the first ones, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
2019 fusion. So not their best fusion, but I agree with you. I think he's one of the more underrated legendaries now because he's got a guaranteed increased defense. And then depending on, who needs it the most, kind of one of those buffers, he'll give the increased speed, crit rate, revive on death, or continuous heal. He'll give the revive on death and continuous heal to people who are less than 50% HP because they need that, obviously. And he'll give the rest, the speed and the crit rate, to someone who's, a little healthier on your team. So he's got that. Then he has turn meter decrease along with decreased speed on his A3. So, really good base stats, 111 base speed. I think he's a good champion now for progression at least. And then Gerptuck, I mean, used a lot in the end game now for extra damage because of the whole, synergy he has with poison. We won't get into the entire kit, but he also has a pretty good cleanse in his kit as well, right? So Gerptuck now used quite a bit. Who else have War Mother? I guess the only ones that I'm on the fence on are War Mother and Gerda.
She's the new one, Gerda.
Yeah.
No, I don't have War Mom and I don't have Gerda. Well, I mean, I don't think anybody's got Gerda yet, right?
Oh,
She's
no,
actually, some people can pull them.
Yeah. Yeah, Gerda, they don't like her so much. The early reviews are in, and they don't like her. I don't think she's that bad, personally. Like twos. Maybe it's people mad because they don't have the sacred shard in the daily login rewards.
Yeah, the sacred shard and the chicken, maybe. That might be why.
Yeah, she's not that great, though. She has poison, she has removing buff, she has an AoE with weaken and poison. But she's not, to me, she's not a 2 champion, but, War Mother, I don't know. I think she's not a must max for me, I guess. Is she for you?
I mean, she could be like a 50 maybe. I guess it really depends because I'm trying to think right now with the gear that we get from Hydra with the bombs. Yeah. Like, are we thinking she could just be very situational where maybe she could be useful if that's the kind of tactic you're trying to go for?
Yeah, if I had her, which I don't, I would give her a try against Hydra, but I'm assuming she doesn't perform that well. Otherwise, she would be on the fastest teams, which she's not. So probably would just hold on War Mother in the vault until they buff bombs enough, because I'm sure one day she'll be pretty strong. Because if they buff bombs, she'll be one of the best champions out there, Lizard Men. All right, not that many, thankfully, compared to Ogre and Tribe, Layla.
Oh, I know.
Any rares here that jump out at you?
I'm trying to think for rares. I don't necessarily know about 60s. I mean, Harrowspecs could maybe be a 50 in some way,
50,
but then there's also Broadma too. If we're looking at revivers in the faction, I think Broadma is just overall better.
Totally agree.
So maybe Harrowspecs, but not exactly. And I know that there's going to be somebody that's going to say that we miss Saurus being a uncommon. I know someone's going to say it.
Campaign farmer crew.
No, I love you so.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we're going to have to talk about Saurus because somebody in the comments is going to be like, you guys forgot him.
Hey, shout out to you for remembering him. But you're right. I mean, for campaign only, it's an AoE and an AoE. Pretty simple, right?
Simple. Run him. Yep.
So I think you could probably get by with level 50 on Saurus, maybe, to campaign farm. I'm not sure if we'll get it done, though. Depends on your gear, of course. I would say my only rare that I would is Metal Shaper, just because I think there's only 3 champions in the game whose shield cooldown is the same as their duration. Valkyrie, Metal Shaper, Lord, is it Lodric or something like Falcon? I don't forget his name, but either way, there's not that many, and he's one of them. A 2-turn cooldown with a shield for 2 turns. Good, obviously, for the Scarab King. So I would throw him in there if you're looking for a shield champion for Scarab King. A little niche. Moving on to epics. You mentioned Broadmaw. Would you auto max him or?
Actually, I use him at 50.
Oh,
so
okay.
I haven't 60'd him. Mine's been at 50 and he's been fine. But I mean, I can definitely see the validity of him being a 60. Like, I don't think that would be out of the question. They did buff him, so he's a lot better than he used to be.
A lot better.
Yeah, so
totally
I definitely
agree.
think he's one you do fuse. Definitely.
Yeah, I think he's almost a must fuse because if you don't need him now, you'll need him eventually in Secret Rooms and Doom Tower because it's a Lizardmen only, epics only. So you'll need him there. I think he's really good. So I would put him as a 60, you know, eventually because you'll need him eventually, as I said. Okay, I will go with. I'll go with Jarek. Jarek is a old school legacy champion in the game. I say it all the time. I think he's a little bit underrated, you know? He's got the continuous heal on this passive whenever you need it, basically. And an ally loses 20% of their max HP. And there's no cooldown on this, so it happens basically all the time, you know, every attack. And then we have ally protect and increased defense on all allies. Just a really, really solid support champion. And the fact that he has, for me, without the A1, you're thinking, okay, pretty good champion. Nice aura, bring a nice passive, increased defense, but I want a little bit more, and he has it on the A1 because you have a dependable decreased attack on the A1 as well, so that makes him, in my opinion, just like a really all-around good like damage mitigator, ally protect, and decreased attack and increased defense.
Yep, I agree with you. I've seen some people hating on him, but I definitely think he could be a solid for
Who
sure.
hates on Jarek, you know?
Well,
Get
it's
outta
the same
here.
people
These
that hate on legacy
Zargala.
ones all
It's
the
the
time.
same people who hate on the Zargala, right? Yeah.
I love my Zargala. When we get to her, you guys will know that. Like, I love Zargi. Sure.
All right. Anybody else here that you and Max no questions asked?
I'm thinking Aox. I really like him.
Yeah.
I
Use
really
him a
like
lot?
him. I feel like he's no brainer. I actually do. I really like him quite a bit. I mean, he's in my faction wars. I've ran him in some other content as well too.
Cool.
But yeah, I mean, he's strong. He's a strong support. I really like having him.
Yeah, like he's probably my most requested champion to do a guide on lately, you know? And I have to admit, the reason I haven't done a guide yet is because I built him, but I don't use him yet. You ever do that? Like you build a champion for a video and you're like, I'll get around to putting artifacts on them. So that's why I haven't made a guide, guys. But he seems like the quintessential clan boss champion and more in other areas as well. But he's got poison, he's got heals, he's got extra heals, he's got decreased attack, he's got decreased crit rate. Pretty cool, you know? And then obviously the Steward of Time, really, really cool passive. So I will go with, I have two champions left here. You might have more or maybe not, but Basilisk.
Not really, no.
Okay, Basilisk I would take to 50, certainly. I recently took him to 60 just because of this A1, right? And again, it's that same Lizardmen only epic secret room that most people probably aren't going to have to worry about until quite a ways away, but just a really hard-hitting A1 here on a Force Affinity champion, hard to find. But I would go Venomage. Excuse me, if you're looking for an activating poison or a poison activator, right? If you don't have one of the OP legendaries that does it, I would actually invest in Venomage. I think a really cool addition to the game. Also has decreased defense in the kit and decreased attack if they're under poison. So again, with the heal reduction and more poisons on the A3, I feel like a very versatile champion that you can use in other areas as well, but especially Clan Boss and Dragon.
Yeah. I'm thinking maybe the last one I might do is Scathex.
Yeah, I was gonna almost mention
that guy.
him. Yeah.
Yeah.
He has like the cleanse, the
definitely.
block debuffs, and a shield, which is this ability, Scales of the Ages. The rest of his kit I don't really care for. Not bad, but not great. But this is a good ability, you know?
Yeah, I think they did fun with him. Like you see that, I don't know, there's like that dead fish hanging on his neck. And I think it's that ability you're hovering over his A2. Like it's like a fish slap or something. Like when you actually see the animation, yeah, it's really funny. Like some of the stuff that they did for the animations for him too are just really cool. So it seems like they had fun. He's got a basket of fish, so he brings us as well. So he comes packing, brings lunch when you guys are out in dungeons, which is always important.
Fantastic, right? Didn't think about that.
I love it.
Legendaries, here we go.
Oh boy.
You wanted to start with your turtle?
We can start with my turtle. I mean, guys, do I even have to explain why? Good God. I mean, he's Krisk. He's probably
you pulled
like
what, 15 of the Krisk? You pulled 15 Krisk,
Oh God,
right?
I pulled many Krisks. Yes,
Dude.
I have.
Be jealous of Layla. If you don't have Krisk, be jealous of Layla, guys. She pulls only Krisks when it's void. When it's void. That's it. That's all you pull.
What's not to love? I mean, he's got to be like one of the best, if not like the best champ in the game.
Well, that's where I was going to go.
Amazing.
That's where I was going to go with this. The corny radio talk show question. Is he the number one champion in the game to you, if you had to power rank it?
Oh God, like he is like there for me. He's just fantastic. I mean, where can you not use him? Like, I feel like you can pretty much use him anywhere. You can find a way to use him in all the content.
To me, he's the number one champion in the game.
Yeah.
All right.
Love him.
I'll go next. I think that a lot of them are good here. I just pulled Shogger. Very cool champion. I'm not sure if you had a chance to look at him yet. He's relatively new. He has an AoE with poison. Second hit has a decreased defense for 3 turns on a 3-turn cooldown, kind of the inverse of like an Iron Brago. So we have increased defense, basic or decreased defense, basically up all the time. Poison is for 4 turns. Okay. Then the A3, attack 1 enemy, then attacks 1 time at random. If the target is under poison, ignoring shield, block damage, and unkillable, grant an extra turn if it kills an enemy. Also resets the cooldown of the A2. Then his passive instantly attacks enemies with a default skill whenever they receive damage from poison. What?
I love that passive. That is just really cool. That's so neat.
And then he has a chance of putting him to sleep too. Why might as well on Stupor is A1. So I have not, I maxed him for clan versus clan, but I haven't built him yet, but I can't wait. I would obviously max him, no questions asked. Who you got next here?
Well, I mean, this one feels like a no-brainer. I'm going to have to go with Ramanatu behind your head over there.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, when you guys get him, that's a no-brainer. And
Do you have him?
I do not, but I did do a showcase with him because my viewers let me do showcases with the really cool champs like this. And he is really good in Arena. I mean, again, those of you guys that haven't be like, yeah, obviously he's really good in Arena. But we also used him in other content as well, too. Like in Doom Tower, we used him in Faction Wars. And he's just a strong champ overall. And his abilities look cool. They just did such a good job with this guy.
Yeah, I don't have him either because I'm an awful slacker when it comes to the missions. But
I'm not getting him for a while.
Yeah, I'm like not in a rush, but you know, very cool. Both his passive and this A3 are really, really cool. Some people I think are a little bit let down by him not being like game-breakingly good. But to your point, he brings a lot to the table, you know? You can't complain,
does.
You know? Okay, I guess I'll go with the easy one, Dracomorph, right? I mean, another guy that no one really hates on Dracomorph, but people say he's been power crept a little bit. Not to me, man. You're still getting weakened, decreased defense, and there's only like, I think 3 champions, maybe 4 that have that in the whole game on 1 ability on 3-turn cooldown. And then he has all the poisons in the world on the A3 and a lot of damage on the A1. As simple as that. He's just like a really, really good damage dealer and debuffer.
Again, there's not a whole lot we could really say about him. I think people are gonna pretty much agree. You know, Draco for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Not gonna be a lot of comments like, "How dare you put Draco on the list?"
No brainer, though. I mean, come on, he's gotta be a 60.
Yeah. All right, who we got next?
Fushan for sure.
Yeah,
I love Fushan.
Me too.
I mean, how do you not like 60 this dude? You gotta love his aura too. Like it's speed in all battles, I think, right? There we go.
He's got Lysandra aura. Like what?
Yep.
And then he has the Syl A2. Same ability, basically. So yeah, I like this guy. He can nuke, deal some damage. I will go with Rosin. I think that Rosin's still a champion that I would still advise everybody to fuse. You know, I think that he still makes sense. 3-time hitter on the A1. He's got the weaken and decreased defense on a 3-turn cooldown single target, and then this, 100% turn meter depletion, no big deal. The only downside is his speed. It's like he's slow at 91.
He's a slow lizard.
He is a slow lizard. But he has not been power crept officially. I still think he's a fantastic champion.
You're right. I mean, he's one of the good things that they've done in the game, right? Like when we talk about some of the good things that they've done between, having Syl in the game. This guy being a fusion that anybody can do. Like when you're there, you just collect them and you can fuse them. It's not a fusion that goes away. That's one of the good things that they've done. So yeah, I agree. He definitely should be on everybody's radar to 60 for sure.
Broadmaw and Rosin, everybody should just go for him. Why not? Why not?
Yeah, exactly.
Anybody? Oh yeah. So I'll go Basatha. I am 3 fragments away from getting this dude. He's really cool looking. He's got like got a little bit of the Tatura Reinhard Dracomorph aesthetic going on, but with lightning or whatever that is, electricity, blue lightning.
So cool.
Very, very cool champion. He has an AoE 100% stun, and he has this cool passive. Whenever an enemy is revived, 100% chance of placing a stun on them. Can't be resisted. That's a cool passive.
That is really cool. I can't wait to see you do a video on him. I want to see how that goes.
Me too. I'm not sure if I will though, because, and look at this. He's got a shield on all allies and continuous heal and a strengthen? Good God.
It's ridiculous. He's got so much. He's so good.
I want to do a guide on him, but I hate doing guide. I don't think I've ever done a guide besides Thea on a Doom Tower hard champion because I just know that like most people are very, very far away from even getting their second, let alone Thea.
That's true.
You know, I don't know. If you guys really want to see a guide when I get him, let me know. Anybody else?
I don't know who's left. We have Verkamkar and Skull Lord, right? Oh, we have
Yeah.
Roxam as well too.
Roxam as
I don't
well.
know. I feel like he's so niche though. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if I would make him a 60.
Dude, Roxam, I wouldn't. I'm
don't
gonna get
know.
hate because I've thrown a little bit of shade at Roxam before in the past, and my viewers, like a few big Roxam fans in the audience. I see you guys. But honestly, I just doesn't do it for me, man. It doesn't do it for me. I've tried so many times to like make him work with other Veiled champions or whatever, but he always just ends up being a little bit below replacement value for me. But
He
he's
seems
not.
like he should work.
He
but
does seem
it's
like
so
he should
interesting
work.
that he doesn't.
I would say like an easy way to buff him would just be take this A3 and move it down to a 4-turn, book down to 3, you know? And then I think he's not broken or anything like that, but he's like a lot more viable. But either way, you guys can let us know how you feel about Roxam.
Yes, I don't know. I'm thinking
yeah.
maybe not 60 on him. And then the other two, I really don't know about that. Like, I know they're talking about Skull Lord being able to, like, solo now. And
Yep.
then Virgomcar, like, I just don't know about the other dude.
For both of these champions, I would not 6-star them because this video is supposed to be like automatic, you know? Like, I'm
I
doing it right.
know.
So for me, I'd probably just sit on them, especially if I wasn't a dirty pay to win. I'd probably just sit on them and see if I have a dire need for one of them. Then I would do it. But like, you know, in a
Yeah.
vacuum, I probably wouldn't. All right, because legendary, you know, books and stuff like that. Do you want to waste them on Virgomcar? Maybe. But
Oh,
I would,
exactly.
you know?
They're hard to come by, like
Yeah.
we talked about too. Sometimes you really got to weigh out the options if you want to save them for a really good champ you could get, or just use them because you have them. And I don't think it's always smart to use them just because you have them.
Yeah, and if you guys disagree, then go ahead and book them out.
You can't fix stupid.
Skinwalker's here. What are you seeing here in the rares? There's only 2 uncommons, no commons. These are not interesting. Any rares
No.
that you find interesting?
You know, I really like Fleshmonger. I think he's a very, very interesting pig on the left.
Yeah,
the pig.
yeah,
There you go.
yeah, the pig.
I think he's really cool. He'll hand do. Look at the hands there. If you guys need a helping hand, he will definitely help you out with that for sure. What can I say?
He's patting you in the head. How cute.
Oh yeah.
He's good because he can deal a ton of damage too. You see him on all of like the end game secret room because of the granted extra turn going into more AoEs, you know, with decreased defense.
Decreased defense.
Yeah.
Yep. AoE decreased defense. Like it's really useful, especially in faction wars too. So
Totally
I
agree.
gotta say, like, he's a really fun champ to have in there.
Totally agree. I think that Graybeard and Narlhorn,
Yeah.
they're both really good. And some people like even, you know, Channeler, Grappler, like they're not awful rares here. But personally, I would not auto 6-star them, you know, unless you really need like an AoE provoke, then maybe I would, you know, but it's not an automatic for me. Anybody else auto for you?
No, I mean, even talking to your point on Narlhorn, I have him, but I'm pretty sure he's a 50. Like, I
Yeah.
don't even think I made him a 60, and it ends up being fine.
Yeah, you can use him for Faction Wars at level 50 and he's
Yeah.
really solid, you know, so I agree. All right, Epics, maxing, no question asked. Go ahead up first here. There's not, actually, this is a
Basher.
little bit of a basher. There we go.
Asher, without a doubt. I mean,
There you
no
go.
questions asked on this guy. This is kind of a no-brainer, for
Yeah.
sure.
Use him in the arena or everywhere, or where do you use him?
Well, I mean, pretty much, like, he's in Faction Wars for sure. Like, that's where
Yeah.
I have him.
It's nice
Kind
to
of like
have-
a mini, like, Warlord kind of dude.
Exactly. You don't see this ability increase the cooldown of all target skills by 2 turns on many champions at all, or, you know, let alone 1 turn. So very, very solid. Like you said, mini Warlord. Very, very mini. All
very
right,
mini.
here. I like Thane, I like Urson Ironhide, I like Horaphes, but these champions to me, like if I needed an AoE decrease attack, maybe I would go with Urson Ironhide, but he's not an auto. If I need a reviver, maybe I would go with him. Do you disagree on any of these champions so far?
So the thing is, like Thane, I really like her, but my God, she is squishy. She's so squishy.
Yeah, she's
So
rocking the
that's
727
what's
defense
tough.
and 13k
Yeah, like, I mean,
HP.
if it's a tiny little mouse, you know what I mean? Like,
Right?
you could just push her.
She's got
So,
abs of steel
I mean,
though. She works out, man. She never misses ab day,
This,
you know?
this girl works out. Her and Shunda
does.
go to the gym together.
know,
She
right?
does abs, Shunda does legs.
Absolutely.
Obviously, I mean, mine's a 60 because I did use her in Clan Boss. And I mean, I do have her in Faction Wars as well too, but I also have a 4Es in Steel Skull. Like, I have them fast to pretty much keep her alive because
Got
she's
you.
just so squishy.
She is squishy. I'll give you that. Very good for, you know, clan boss damage and stuff like that, though. I guess I'll go with Steel Skull.
Yeah.
Only reason I wouldn't auto max Steel Skull is if I had, you know, it's weird because Uragrim is so much different, but they both have like their A2 is very similar, you know, the cleanse and a big heal. So then Other than that, he's bringing increased defense and another heal on the A3. I do feel like, and I'll get some hate for this, but I do feel like Steel Skull has been slightly power crept. Because, you know, it's a 4-turn cooldown on the increased defense, only lasts for 2 turns, but he's still very serviceable for a clan boss, in my opinion, you know, or faction wars.
I wonder if you even do 60 him. Like, people might even 60 him just for faction wars in and of itself. I know, like, I did, for example.
Yeah.
So I guess it depends on the roster that you got.
He is
like,
a beast in faction wars. He's
a
beast.
Yeah, I know he was for me.
Okay. Anybody else here that you think is it's pretty underwhelming overall in terms of
yeah,
epics?
I mean, I'm looking at some of them, and I know we talked about Ursa and Ironhide, and we talked about Haforis. I really like both of them, and I did 60 them, but it was more out of like necessity, especially with Ursine.
Yeah.
Just because I was trying to finish faction wars.
Yeah, people like this guy.
Scabrius? Yeah, we do like him quite a bit.
The AoE leech on his kit. I haven't tried him enough to know, like, just going to be blunt with you guys, haven't tried him enough to know if he's like, you know, super incredible. I will say that Flesh Terror is a champion that I would at least take to 50, maybe 60. He's a guy that I slept on for so long in the game, and then I forgot who was on the channel. It was either Boomer or Mad Capper, but either way they were like, wow, there's not that many champions in the game. There's actually none who have a kit like Flesh Terror. He increases the duration of all buffs on allies on his with a great heal on his A2, and then his A3 is decreased duration of all enemy buffs and increased duration of all enemy debuffs. So he's increasing debuffs, decreasing buffs, and increasing our buffs. He's doing all of that in his kit. So very unique champion in that regard, you know?
So probably very niche too, depending what you use them.
And then I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Toxic Nova ability on Taurus. If you're just looking for a bunch of poisons, well, you know, look no further than Taurus. But again, I wouldn't say he's automatic for me. It depends on what I need. All right.
Yeah.
I don't want to. Yeah. Huh?
No, I really don't see any other epics because even, you know, like I know Rain Beast is there, but you know, now we have Haforis. You know, before Rain Beast was kind of the only, and again, not a true reviver, right?
No. So
at this point, maybe not necessarily anymore. Maybe at one point he might have been, but now that we have Haforis, not so much.
Yeah, for me, no, yeah, he's not there either. Okay, it's time for Legos. You want to go first, Leah?
Ooh, I love Coronar.
Yeah.
Oh man, like
cool.
I just feel like he's an auto 60. You put this guy in a stun set and he can do some work. Just gotta love him.
I haven't tried him in a stun personally, but I want to.
I have mine in stun. He's great.
He always surprises me too, Layla, in terms of his, not just the control that he has, but I'm always shocked when I use him at like, wow, he put out a lot of damage. All those AoEs, even though they're not hard hitting, they add up because he has the auto counterattack, you know? Good choice.
Yeah, he's so good.
I'll go with, oh my word, I am floored by the damage that Tumicia can do.
Oh, she's so good.
She's gnarly, the damage she can put out. She has a hard-hitting HP burn for 3 turns on an AoE, but this ability, Burning Regret, if there's a few, like against Hydra, for example, there's a few burns active on the table or on the battlefield, she's hitting... I put her in I showed this before. I apologize to my viewers. I'm not trying to humble brag this. It is a dirty pay-to-win team. But check this out, man. Like on the...
Just show me. Let me see.
Look at this. Look at this.
Oh, I'm sure she did insane damage.
This is hard. This is hard difficulty. She put out 21 million damage solo.
That's awesome.
Like, what? So she's hitting for like 1.1 million per hit on the damage on that A3. I'm like, wow. Okay, wasn't expecting that. So yeah, really love her.
Definitely.
Who else you got?
I think we gotta go Leo. Leoris.
Yeah. Yep.
Definitely gotta go Leo.
He's cool.
I don't have him. I wish I did, but man, I would have to say he's got to be a 60 if you get him.
Yeah, I use him as my main. He's now my main arena nuker, just because I love that he has the Skull Crown kind of fail-safe, unkillable thing going on. Right? It's basically the same ability where he just stays alive. So there's been so many times in hard-hitting A2, A3, and A2 that keeps him immune from CCs. But it's just been so many times, Layla, that I've used him, and my whole squad wiped. He's sitting there with an unkillable at 1 HP, a la Skull Crown again, and just he kills the entire team. So
and
really, really
wipe.
cool.
Just cleans it right out. Yep.
That's it. That's it. And, okay, next up, I will go with Longbeard. I don't have Longbeard, but he's a really, really cool ally attack champion because you get that damage increase by 20%, mitigating the ally attack. We have less damage on ally attack, on the A1s anyway. So I really love him as an ally attack option. One of the best, probably the best blender options out there. So I'll go Longbeard.
Yep, I don't have them, but I definitely see that.
I don't have them either, but I would use them if I did. Anybody else who's an auto for you here?
I wonder if I'm thinking Norog actually.
Okay.
I think some people
the
kind of
pig.
like sleep on him too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Big Bacon over here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Feed him
So
to
again, I
to what's his face? Claude Beast Feeder. There we go.
Oh my gosh, no.
Yeah, right. He's a big fella. But yeah, you're right. He's a pretty cool champion.
Yeah, he's definitely cool, and I'm thinking he might be an older one too, right? And so sometimes I think a lot of the older ones kind of get overlooked because again, like this game, I think last time I counted, my God, like there's almost 670 champs in this game. Like it's ridiculous at this point.
My God.
I know. I literally sat there one stream and we were like tallying it all together, and I'm like, good God, there's so many champs. So
That's
it's
crazy.
easy to kind of forget about some of these champs that are pretty good. They've been around for a while.
A simple but good kit, you know, and he has I like that he's blocking, you know, damage, you know. I think that that's a skill that has grown on people. Like any sort of passive damage mitigation is really valuable. And then he has that defense in dungeons. God, if you pulled him early on, you get a 40% dungeon aura.
That's
not
ridiculous.
too bad.
Yeah.
War Chief I actually use as my main provoker in against Magma Dragon. But I feel like provokers, you know, you could even use Sentinel, the rare out of like Undead Horde, is it? So I wouldn't max him just for that. Brachus I love, but for me personally, he wouldn't be an auto 6-star. Would he be for you?
Love him too. I have him on the alt. I mean, he's a 60 just because I like him.
Yeah.
But as far as like people having to 60 him, I don't know if he necessarily would be an auto. It might just depend honestly on what the rest of the roster is.
Yeah.
But he is a fun looking champ. He's just cool.
He's super cool, very fun in the arena. He's very fun. He can deal a lot of damage in Clan Boss, so like no hate on him at all. And Hacker and Smash Lord, same thing. I talked about this probably 2 times in the last 2 weeks, so I'll be brief here. But for me, he just needs this A2 to just be a 3-turn cooldown, you know? We have block buffs for 2 turns and a heal with a cleanse is a great ability, but I feel like there's been so many champions that have cleanses now added on a 3-turn cooldown to the game that it has really crept on Hacker and Smash a little bit. So, you know, for me, he's not an auto, but I think for most, he probably is. I don't know. And Cleo, I'm not a fan of.
What do you guys think? Do you think he's an auto 60 for you? What do you guys think?
I think my viewers would probably say he's an auto 60. What about you?
Yeah.
Where do you fall on Hackhorn?
I don't have him on my main, so I actually haven't even really done anything with him.
Got you. Don't bother. No, I'm just joking. He's a good champion. Cleo, I hate Cleo. I hate all Hex champions. What about you?
I haven't done anything with her. Actually, I think
same.
she's still in my portal. I haven't even taken her out. She's just chilling in there.
Same. Tell us if we're wrong on
I'm
Cleo,
not even
guys.
in the halls.
Tell us if we're wrong on her. All right, Orcs, the final faction of part 2. So here we go. Rares. Ooh.
Now, you guys, Ash already addressed this with the starters because we see Gallic, and even Gallic, you know. Yeah. Would we still 60 Gallic really though? I mean, who's starting with him recently?
I don't know. Some people swear by him, you know. Some people actually really like him. He's my least favorite out of the 4. I think Veteran can definitely be helpful in Faction Wars. You know, you can have some fun with Ironclad. Some of these champions are fun, but they're not auto 60s for me. So let's move on to the epics, unless you disagree.
No, I agree. That's the thing. That's why I was just going to point out the Gallic thing, which is I don't know, situational. It's because we talked about the starters before someone says we missed the starters again.
I guess, let's just so we can cover all our bases here. If you choose Galek as a starter in the game, yes, you should 60 him. There we go.
If you pull him from a shard, don't.
Exactly. Orcs, have at it. Epics.
Oh man, where do we even want to start? Let's start with Seer. I think she's kind of a no-brainer, right?
Yes.
But, you know, okay, so the thing with her, like, she's fantastic, but here's the thing, too. Like, I feel like if you get her really super early, you might not be able to have the gear to really use her. So then maybe she's 50 for a little while until you're able to get the gear, but she definitely is a champ that should be a 60, like, eventually, for sure.
I don't think it's too hyperbolic to say that she's changed my account more than any other champion just because of all the time she saved me on speed runs, you know, really on the karma burn. So I will go with Sandlash Survivor. Sandlash is great because she has a great defensive aura, good for clan boss, and then she has ally protect on her passive, which is really, really cool. For 2 turns when an ally's HP drops below 50%. She also has an AoE with the increased duration of enemy buffs, increased duration of ally buffs, if I can speak, on a 3-turn cooldown. So really, really good ability. I've talked about this on a previous video too, Layla, but for a long time I underrated kind of like Flesh Tear, right? Underrated champions with these increase and decrease abilities can really change the complexion of an overall fight, especially longer fights, because, you know, all your buffs are there longer, right? And all the debuffs are there longer. So really, really love Sandlash Survivor.
Yeah, she's a good champ for sure. I mean, I agree with you there. I think she's going to be one that you're going to want to 60. I'm going to go with Vrask. I love him.
Okay.
I think he's really fun. I have him in a Relentless, and I love the amount of heals that he can just keep tossing out.
Yeah, yeah. Like a very simple kit. Heals all allies with 10% of the max HP when he inflicts a critical hit. So you build him with a boatload of HP, 100% crit rate, and you've got yourself one of the best sheer healers in the game.
Yeah, I think he's great. I think he's worth it.
I don't use him anymore, though. I got to be honest. Do you use him right now?
I still use him, yeah.
Okay, cool. I do feel like he scales off a little bit in the end game, but I would still, if I wasn't, if I needed him, if I needed any healer, one of the best healers, I would go with it.
Well, I have him in Faction Wars, if that's what we're talking, like the content, like that's where I have him. So yeah, I mean, you're right, probably like in later content, not so much, but definitely for Faction Wars, I found him really useful in there.
And I feel like to play contrarian to myself a little bit, I feel like he has a little bit of a resurgence in Hydra Clan Boss where raw heals are really necessary. So maybe he is worth it now. Duck the Pierce to me is the only other auto, unless I'm missing somebody, for me. A defense-based debuffer with decreased attack and decreased defense in the same ability a la Stagnite. Very, very good champion to have on your squad.
Yeah, he's great. I'm thinking, you know, Jorg actually, because when we're looking at revivers, right?
Yep.
Old Helping Hands Jorg. I mean, you gotta love whatever reason. He's got those hands on his hips. You know, he's ready to go.
He's ready
Give
to
you
go.
a hand in Faction Wars. He's ready. Oh, so honestly, Plarium, what's your thing with hands?
Yeah,
like this is just weird.
It's someone at Plarium HQ has something going on with hands. They're like, that's another hand champion.
Because like I'm even talking. We go to Shadow. Can you look at Jingwan? Like, what's the deal with that massive hand on his shield? Like, it's creepy. It's so creepy.
I gotta look again. I know what you're talking about, but check this out.
Turn him around. Look at that. Plarium, what are you doing?
Really cool, man. They're like, hey, whenever they don't know what to put on a champion, like, throw a big hand on them. That'll
Put a
work.
hand on him. All right. That's fine. No one's gonna notice. Just
so
toss that there.
Layla loves big hands, so she would max Old Hermit Jorg just for the hands, correct?
Well, the thing is, so what are your choices? Him and Shaman? Really? Like, what are your choices?
If you need a reviver, yeah.
I know.
Yeah. I mean, he's the best. Yeah, definitely take him over Shaman. I'll give him that. So if you need a reviver, yeah, auto.
Yep.
I guess the one thing, we talked about it, I guess the only two champions I'm kind of eyeing up here, I'm not a massive fan of Ultimate Galek, but Zargala and Tuak, how do you feel about those two?
Oh, you know I love my Zargala.
Yeah.
You know, I got her early on my main account and I 60'd her. I think I did already. I think I did it like last year or something. Probably.
You kind of got a little bit of Zargala. Nah, it's more War Maiden going on right now with the hair.
Talia War Maiden thing.
Yeah. So Zargala, you would auto max her still.
Actually did, yeah. Like I said, on the main when I grabbed her, I did. And I still use her in Faction Wars too. Like she was in my arena for a while as my nuker, but I still use her in Faction Wars and she hits pretty darn hard.
She does.
And again, I know that she's an older champ, so people kind of overlook her. And yeah, she might have got power crapped a bit, but I still really love her. She's a great champ.
I agree. It does stink that it's a 4-turn cooldown when booked and it only lasts 2 turns to decrease defense, but she is like, in my mind, it probably oversimplification, but she's a cool upgrade to like War Maiden for newer players, you know, if you pull her. Nice to have a really solid damage dealer and debuffer in Force Affinity. So I agree with you there. I would probably auto max her because you can use her in a lot of ways. I think I would probably max Tuak the Wanderer too. Why not? Because he has attack in all battles, which I find myself actually using pretty often, and he scales surprisingly well into the end game because there's so many like void epic secret rooms and whatever in Doom Tower, and he deals a lot of damage, and he's bringing a lot of other stuff to the table. Decreased speed, increased speed on himself, stuns as well. I think he was actually an Amazon Prime champion, I think, but either way, pretty cool. All right.
That I actually don't remember. Kind of like Galek. Like you got him for something else too, I think, right? Was he also a Prime?
Yes. Ultimate Galek, like Tuak the Wanderer, Whisper, and
Listen up. We got ways to make you talk. Or mine.
Yeah.
So tell us what we want to know.
Vala.
I remember people talking about. Vala. Okay.
Yep.
Barbarian. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Battle Pass was the Bears and Whirlum Frost King. Anyway, Orcs. Here we go. Legendaries, excuse me. Here we go.
Yes, I know. Orc Legos. Iron Brago. I really like him. Great defense champ.
One of the best in the game, right?
Oh, I have to agree with you, especially like right there too. Yeah, you book that down.
Yes.
That's amazing. 3-turn cooldown. Love it.
My favorite thing about him is, and then the cool passive increase all
Yeah.
ally defense by 10% of his defense. That's insane.
Not
you know?
theirs, but his. Yeah.
Yeah, and he has AoE, decrease attack, and provoke, and deals a lot of damage. Dude, Iron Brago's, dare I say, underrated, this guy? I mean, people know he's good, but I think he's like up there in terms of the best champs out there in the game.
And he was a fragment champ too, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes they surprise us. Sometimes the fragment champs are garbage, and sometimes they're really good.
Yeah.
And I think he's one of those exceptional ones that was pretty good.
Totally agree with you. I'll go with the obvious Warlord, aka like Vrask's twin. Like, look at Warlord,
Basically, yep.
right? And
They're
then
pretty much the same, yeah.
Vrask. I mean,
Bigger
oh my
brother.
gosh, wow.
Have you been sent from the future to destroy me? Because it's working.
Okay. Anyway, Warlord is, what do I have to say about him? Orcish rituals. Okay, next.
I know, that's pretty much it. Kreela. I gotta go Kreela. Can't forget our girl.
Of course.
Not
very
Kreela,
unique.
Kreela.
Very unique champion. She's an ally attacker with a 3-turn cooldown, which makes her the only one, I think. And has a stun. Granted, you'll have 3 allies joining the attack, but overall, a very, very good champion.
Yep. So we have to have her in there. Not her
agree.
sister. We're gonna skip Tila. So
Yeah, Tila. No, thank you. No, thank you. All right, who else do we have here? We have your first champion ever. Are you going to show him some love?
You know what? They buffed him though recently.
They buffed him
I have to
big.
say, he is a little bit better now. Yeah, so he is better than he was when I first got him, for sure.
They gave him plus 10 speed, which I really love. And they gave him heavier multipliers. He already had good multipliers, so I don't know. If you need a nuker debuffer, I think I'm saying auto max roll bar. I can't believe I'm saying that.
Yeah, let me see. So looking at the rest of them, you know what's really funny? So you and I talked about Nogdar before, and he grew on me.
Yeah.
He's grown on me. I put him on Frenzy, and he's so fun to watch. I know, it's hilarious. After you and I talked about him, it's really funny.
look at the reviews on this dude.
I know.
I was gonna say if you didn't say it, but for him, for me, he's an auto 6-star. I don't care what anybody
He's
says.
so fun. Guys, you really should try him in a Frenzy. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, come to my channel. I run him in campaign just for fun. We run him like everywhere now in Frenzy just for the fun of it. And he's hilarious to watch. And he does some pretty good damage too.
Yeah, he's sacrificing his HP on every single ability, basically. He's killing himself on every ability. But then he brings himself back to life as long as all other allies are alive. And when you have a Frenzy, it increases turn meter as his HP reduces. So it ends up just being this chain reaction of him just going and going and going and going. And I think he has...
It's hilarious.
Grants an extra turn if the attack kills an enemy on a hard-hitting A1. So between the extra turns on the A1 to him coming back to life to turn meter all over the place, he's just an absolute...
It's great to watch.
He's
That's
so
why after you and I
much fun.
talked about it, I was like, all right, I'm like, let me give him a shot. And he's so funny now. I love it. He's so fun to watch.
He's so much fun. I agree. Anybody else who is an auto 6-star for you here, legendary-wise?
I can't think so. But I know that there's some new ones there too.
Yep.
Like I know there's, I'm trying to think of the one right behind.
So this dude,
like he's new. Yeah, I'm not sure about that guy, honestly.
he looks pretty cool. Look at that cape.
He does look really cool.
Let's see.
Yeah, they did
He
a
has
good job.
AoE decrease accuracy and a true fear. And it can't be resisted from certain factions. And then ignore shield buffs on a hard-hitting A3, decrease the cooldown if it kills the enemy, excuse me. His passive is heals a champion by 50% of max HP every time the champion kills an enemy. Extra turn if they're one of these specific factions. I don't like the faction-specific stuff, Layla, but he does look like a pretty cool champion, you know?
I wonder what they're planning to do with that. You know, I know we talked about this before, is that they've slowly been adding in this like faction-specific stuff.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder if they're planning some interesting content down the road that's going to be something like faction-specific, like faction versus faction, or I don't know. It's really curious to see why they're doing that a lot recently.
Yeah, it is. It is. Maybe they just can't think of anything else to do to make these champions unique that they're just adding it. Who knows? Growhawk got a buff too. I'm not going to say he's an auto, but I still feel like people have like a sour taste of the old Growhawk the Bloodied. A lot of people thought he was one of the worst champions in the game. They took away like the prerequisite that it had to have decreased speed on the A2. He also has a 100% steal of a turn meter on a 4-turn cooldown. They reduced the cooldown from a 6 to a 5 on the A3. So I think that he's actually, you know, spider serviceable against bosses who you can still turn meter or reduce turn meter serviceable. Hard-hitting AoE with turn meter fill on his A2. I'm not going to say he's an auto yet. And they also changed his speed and done his 24% on his aura. I think they changed that, or it was already there. But he's not a bad champion anymore. To me.
I mean, I have him. He's at 50. I haven't 60'd him just because
Yeah.
I've been on the fence with that.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I guess I'm gonna say all of these champions to me. Maybe you can make a case if you really need them, but even Varl the Destroyer, he's a Doom Tower hard champion who I have, and I didn't max him. And part of the problem, and I guess I'll end with this little mini rant here, is at least on my account here, I don't like the Doom Tower hard champions other than Basatha, right? And Uros Soul Cage, but Doom Tower hard is so hard to farm these champions that you need such good champions to where when you get these champions, the champions that you had to have in order to get them unlocked are not as good, you know? And that's kind of my problem with Varl. I don't know. Yeah, like look at these.
The reviews.
The reviews are bad, and reviews don't mean much in this game, but you know, think of it this way. The people who have him are end game players, so they're grading on a curve. Just doesn't hit that hard, you know, considering his kit. And yeah, I guess I'll end my little rant there. We're going in an hour, Layla Fox. Thank you so much for being so generous with your time here again. And part 2, that's even longer than part 1. But there's a lot of champions that we have maxed, no questions asked, right?
There was like the Ogren group there. Oh my god, like there's so many in there. That one definitely took the period of time.
Yeah, it's like who wouldn't you max here, you know?
I know, they're just good.
Yeah, any final thoughts before we let you go?
No, I mean, there's definitely so many good champs in there. So what do we got up next?
Okay, so next part 3, I would expect it probably probably 2 weeks from now or so. Demon Spawn, which is going to be another long one. Undead Horror, which is going to be another long one.
Yeah.
Well, you know what we'll probably do? 4 parts, Layla. We'll probably have to do Demon, Undead, Dark, and then Night,
and then
Dwarf,
the other 3.
Shadowcan, because same thing with Dark Elves, you know? So guys,
oh man, there's so many.
Stay tuned for that. Now is the perfect time to check out episode 1 of our collab in case you missed it. But first, make sure you check out that Harrier lore video. Check out Layla Fox's Twitch channel, her YouTube channel, her Twitter information, anything else, her Instagram. What else am I missing, Layla?
Pretty much all of it. Thank you.
No problem. All right, Layla, it's a pleasure having you on. Love talking Raid Shadow Legends with you. We'll see you for part 3.
Part 3. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Guys, thank you so much for watching all the way till the end. And as always, take care, guys.